Aloha, everybody, and welcome to Mystic Wisdom Sunday once again with Wayne Kealohi Powell. And I've had quite a week to share with you. It's really, really yummy. At least entertaining to hear about someone else's discomfort. Makes us feel better. Anyway, full moon today. So it's a great time to share our feelings, our emotions, and what we're going through. And I was reading something today in A Course in Miracles in the Teacher's Manual about how a teacher is not a special position. And a teacher is not separate from the student. A teacher is actually a learner by teaching through the student. You see, there's the principle of oneness again, just recycling. Yeah, so those of you that have questions, please pop them in the chat. I look forward to that. And otherwise, here we go. I want to play a song for you. Let me get this proper musician thing on. Microphone. Original sound for musicians. A song called Universe We Are. And I've been working on a music video, a short video for it, because the chorus is so beautiful. And it kind of brings into perspective how we are all one in this universe. And all the sentient beings and all life forms and every planet and every world in every solar system. There's only one spirit that is living and thriving through all of us in this illusion of separateness. So that's what the song's about. And it came about by peering through a very inexpensive telescope we got at a garage sale for $25. My friend and I, we were living up in top of Mulholland Drive between the LA Valley and the LA City, high up in the Santa Monica Mountains. So in the winter, we're above the smog line and you could see the sky very, very clearly. And we were peering through this telescope. And the lens we bought was like, $85, $90. And so we could actually see something. And we could see the rings of Saturn and the 4 moons of Jupiter. But primarily, we were looking at the Pleiades, which is very active right now upon the Earth, and Sirius, the star, the brightest star you can see from the Earth. And that star, it implanted these colors in our retina, just burning this message of the song that we are here, we are one. Even though those light rays took millions of years to get to us, it's in our present, even though it's in their past. And with time being irrelevant, the message still comes through. So, universe we are. Here we go. Around the radiant sun, caught in the magical web, galaxy spun. beauty and grace, somewhere in space, between where we're going and where we're coming from. So gaze into the telescope, wonder view for us. Silver, blue, red and yellow too. Universe of love. Now the time has come for all the children everywhere to see just who they are. Taking what we've learned to join again with all the worlds afar. We are universe. We are third planet from a star we call the sun. Home for the human race, living as one. Beauty and grace, somewhere in space, between where we're going and where we're coming from. So gaze into the telescope, wonder view for us. Silver, blue, red and yellow too. Universe of love. Now the time has come for all the children everywhere to see just who they are. Taking what we've learned to join again with all the worlds afar. We are universe. We Now the time has come for all the children everywhere to see just who they are. Taking what we've learned to join again with all the worlds afar. We are universe. We are. Well, there you go. Here we come. Yeah, you know, this oneness concept is quite difficult for the ego because it's totally convinced that there's only separation. It's not built to, perceive the one spirit. That's okay. It's a part of being human. So I had this amazing experience this week in a hospital emergency room. Yeah, I woke up one day and I couldn't stand on my right leg. Strangest thing. If I tried to put weight on it, the pain would disconnect the ability to use it. So I had to hop around on my left leg till I could get to the hospital in a wheelchair. Now, when we walked into the emergency room, and there were other options. You could have gone to a clinic. It was middle of the afternoon. But then, my friend who was driving me, she said, the hospital's a one stop because they've got all the machines and all the blood tests and everything right on board. If you go to a clinic first, then you've got to make 2 stops. So we went to the hospital. We walked into the waiting room. There was about between 40 and 50 people in there. It's fairly large. And I thought, looking around the room, my intuition said, between 4 and 7 hour wait, most likely. Well, this was about 3:30, somewhere in there in the afternoon. And so what happened over the next several hours was there was quite a few emergencies and ambulances coming in regularly with people who were mostly unconscious or were on IVs and plugged in with tubes, and they were on gurneys, and it was like being inside of one of those hospital TV series, watching all the first responders and the police coming and going with the gurneys. So that really slowed down all the walk-in traffic. It slowed it down so much. I was in that room for 20 hours. Yeah, until about 1:30 the next day. And here's where the story gets interesting. Because there's a lot of humanity, a lot of mixed, ways of thinking, a lot of different belief systems, a lot of different, religious sort of slants in various people. And so you've got quite a variety of humanoids in there, some extremely needing lots of help, on drugs or whatever. Just they've lost themselves, and others who are just in for this one woman next to me had sprayed or broken her wrist or cracked a bone or something. And there was another woman who, couldn't eat. She couldn't eat, and she had her energy. She was young, college student. So anyway, it was an education on a slice of humanity here in Edmonton, Alberta. So what I chose to do as the hours proceeded was to become a lighthouse, become a beacon of God's light, of pure, consciousness. And I knew that this would rescue me from impatience, blame, shame, and judgment. So I did that for pretty much the 20 hours I was in the room. And I was in the middle of the room. This is what gave me the idea. As I was looking around the room, I realized I was in the middle of the room. And it was a great place to be a beacon of consciousness. So I closed my eyes and I just opened my crown chakra, just like I do with you guys. And I breathed golden white light into myself, expanded my aura, and I kept expanding the aura to include everyone in the room all the way from wall to wall. And the time seemed to pass pretty quickly, only because I wasn't really uncomfortable. There's no pain in my leg unless I tried to stand. So I had this wheelchair that I had to get out of because the seat is like wood, and there's no way, with the challenge being in you know my glutes and the sit bone area. Am I going to sit on wood for 20 hours? So I would get out of the wheelchair and I would sit in the padded seats, which had foam of maybe inch and a half, you know. Um, and so they kept coming and stealing my wheelchair because they were short of the wheelchairs. So finally, I gave up on having a wheelchair handy because the time just kept going on and on and on. And I heard one story as they were taking someone in. There was a man who was very upset that it took 18 hours for his daughter to get service. And that just kind of like echoed. And I went, oh, interesting. This is why I had to give up the idea of forward movement into the complex to get treated. Now, finally, they call my name 20 hours in, and and they find me a wheelchair, and so we go in. There's about 5 or 6 of us. They called our names, and they take us into another waiting room. Yeah, the sign said X-ray waiting. But it's an open room. There's no door. There's an office in there with a bunch of technicians looking at computers. So another hour, almost an hour, in the second room. So now we're 21 hours. And then finally, the doctor, they have a bed. Finally, is what happened. And because I kind of had a feeling that with all the incoming gurneys over the night, all the beds would be filled. I was correct. And the walk ins that they did take in, they were sleeping through the night. So here it is now in the approaching middle of the afternoon again on the next day. And finally, some beds are being freed up. So I went in to the cubicle with the curtains, just like in the TV shows. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited. And now I'm deciding, okay, I'm just going to watch a movie. And I did that actually through the night. I watched 3 movies on my phone to the point where I had to keep recharging it. And I had someone sitting nearby to go find a plug for me because I couldn't walk without a wheelchair. And so I went back to my movie, waiting for the doctor in the cubicle. And so he finally comes in. I pause the movie, and he starts a questionnaire. He's got a computer, on a Rolodesk, and he's asking me all these questions, and I'm answering them. And it feels like, oh, finally, I'm getting some service. Wow, this is starting to feel better. And then, boom, there's an announcement over the speakers from the front desk that there's another gurney. And the doctor says, oh, I'll be back. He takes his computer table and out through the curtain and disappears into the again. I go back to watching my movie. It felt so rude. It felt like, wow. And I can understand. See, this is the thing. I'm not projecting. I'm observing, which is what I'm teaching everyone. Just to observe what's happening from a place of interest and wonder. Innocent perception is what I was practicing the whole time. And so I thought, well, of course, someone comes in on a gurney. They need more help than I do in this moment. And I wondered if he was a surgeon, if he would not come back, and blah, blah, blah. I went back to my movie. So he comes in about 20 minutes later, apologizes, and finishes the interview, the questionnaire. And then things really started to move. at that point, they took me back to the second waiting room, which is internal. And within 5 minutes or so, someone came to get me for x-rays. And I went into x-ray, and she did her duty, and then she came back. And then someone came to get me for ultrasound. And so they took me into another building, and I came back. And then a PT showed up. And this all happened in 1 hour. Bam, 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 bam. And the PT is giving me all these exercises to do and blah, blah, blah. And then he left. So I asked the woman at the desk, okay, so why am I waiting here now if everything's been done? Oh, we're waiting for some of the tests to come back. I says, look, lady, I got to get home. I haven't slept in since Monday. Here it is Wednesday. Can I just please be released? And she said, well, the doctor has to release you. So I said, could you call him, please? So he came, and he says, well, it'd be good if you stayed because we could, look at the tests and maybe prescribe some more drugs, or whatever. And I said, Doc, I don't do pharmaceuticals. Sorry, no offense, but it's just not something I do. So please just let me go. And he signed the paper and let me go. Now, to my amazement at this point, this is about 23 hours now, I was able to get up out of the wheelchair and walk out of the building. There was no pain. There was a little bit of a limp, but the pain was gone and my posture was better. And I was surprised, yet, I'm one that is used to miracles. And I love allowing them to enter into my experience. So that was amazing. I walked outside and waited for the Uber to come get me. And I walked home after the Uber from the car and walked up and down the stairs to do my things in the house. And there's a couple of things that played into this besides what appears. And that's kind of what I wanted to share with you because I've had experiences today with some other people in the last couple of days who are not actually acting as their loving self. These are people I know, and being that I've been helping with the leaky gut syndrome for about 30 years, I'm very sensitive to someone who is out of balance in that way, who has lost their tolerance, who has lost their kindness, who has lost their ability to actually see things clearly, not only in another way, but just not being able to find like buttons on your phone and stuff like that. And so I thought, okay, maybe that played into this. Maybe I had a leaky gut. And sure enough, I looked at the pattern of the last couple of days, and there was no caffeine. There was no spices. There was only food that was very gut friendly, which is on the meal plan. And I was amazed how 70-80% of the pain had gone and mobility had returned. So I'm sharing this with you because, I'm looking at this friend and how she can still run her life. She's a musician, she's a singer, dancer, and how, she can run her life with a leaky gut yet when it comes to relating to others, like I gave her a compliment when we first got onto a Zoom call. I said, hey, I've been watching your thread, and you're really making a joyful noise in that duet with you and your honey. That's really cool. And she goes, yeah. Mm. And then she spilled coffee all over her computer and had to leave the Zoom meeting. And coffee is one of the first things that has to go with the leaky gut because it's pure fire, full of caffeine and all kinds of other things that really irritate a gut that has no mucous membranes. So God bless her. She was projecting on me and the company that I was presenting to her, and I just said, hey, look, this is perhaps not for you. And, personally, I was tired of hearing all the complaining. So I said, hey, I'm going to let this go, and I still love you, and have a nice day. And that was the end of the conversation so far. We'll see what happens from there. But yeah, be on the lookout for people you know and love who are not being themselves at all. I mean, it looks like, there's a complete shadow veil that has overcome them, and they're not in touch with their real feelings. They're not in touch with our feelings. They're not in touch with real communication. It's all running on an automatic program. Tolerance is missing. Patience is missing. Vision of things is missing, especially the vision of the ones you love trying to love you. Anger is it's one of the flags of leaky gut, is excessive anger for a long period of time, because that's the poison trying to get out, right? And I guess this kind of fits into a Mystic Wisdom Sunday, because what I'm after in the world, being a peacemaker, is observing and promoting how everyone could be more at peace with themselves and their lovers, their partners, their family members, their friends, the people they work with. It's beautiful to see people and promote them coming to peace. And this plays a big part of it, into it, because everyone equally has a very strong, light living within them. Everyone was given equally the presence of creation and will to create equally. And as we clean our world up, our own world, as we find more peace, I mean, the kind of peace, I don't mean just okayness with things. I'm talking about the kind of peace where all of a sudden you feel like you're in heaven and you didn't do anything. And yet there's all this light that is making you feel really good, and you don't know why. That's the kind of peace I'm talking about. I guess they call it joy. Joy and peace are kind of married in that heavenly frequency that we're all kind of reaching for. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing to be part of that, to be a teacher and a learner by teaching this frequency. And the hardest part is not to judge. The hardest part, because the ego's program is an automatic judgment machine, involuntary. And, the more I refrain, the more I make my default non-judgment when I look into the world most people see, the more I make non-judgment a default, the more I can see and feel the real world without judgment. The more I see and feel everyone's pure innocence. And that feels so good because there's so much guilt and shame that has been imprinted in our subconscious from the time we were born. And we're totally unaware of it because, like I said last week, it's been normalized. So, wow, I want to live in that state. I don't know about you, but I want to live in that state of what feels like joy and peace, residing in heaven all the time. I'm working on it, and I'm sharing my experience with you in that regard, all aspects of it. So perhaps you can glean some of these goodies for yourself and find yourself beyond meditation in a frequency that everything is sparkling. Now, from an ego point of view, heaven is spiritual bypassing. If you know, I think it's so funny because it's actually a complete reversal. What it is, living in the frequency of heaven, is ego bypassing. Separation bypassing. That's right. Because when we are in this state of glowing with heavenly joy and peace, that frequency helps the entire human collective. Why? Because we are one. We are one. So if you want to help the world, help yourself first. Find a way to experience what I just mentioned to you without judgment. It's tough practice, I tell you. There's a great teacher of A Course in Miracles, and I'm going to put in a plug for her here because this is what's helped me so much. She did all the workbook lessons in A Course in Miracles, 365, one at a time. She did one every day for a whole year and recorded it. And after she reads the lesson to us, she opens and receives a transmission for the deeper meaning of the lesson. And so I was gardening the other day, and I thought, I really need to practice this more. You're supposed to be able to do the lessons in the morning and in the evening and once on the hour. That's the prescription, or the what they suggest heavily in the Course in Miracles. When you do the workbook, you do it in the morning when you wake up, in the evening before sleep, and you do it on the hour. Every hour, you just take a few minutes and recite the lesson. I've never been able to pull that off because I'm such a busy creator. So I thought, okay, I'm going to spend a couple hours in the garden. And I took my headphones in with me, put my gloves on, and got all my tools. And I'm on the earth pulling weeds. And for almost 2 hours, I listened to maybe several lessons, because they're each between 10 and 15 minutes. And then there is also the clarification points in between every 10 lessons, which are more like 20, 25 minutes. So anyway, I'm listening and I'm pulling weeds. And what a metaphor. I'm pulling weeds and I'm listening. And I'm listening. And, I really like her voice. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do this. Her name is Hope Johnson. And she can be found on every single streaming channel for free. hopejohnson.org. And so I'm listening and listening and listening. And then I finish my gardening and I get up and I go into the house. And that night, I had the most peaceful sleep for at least 8 hours. And when I woke up, I could feel Jesus in the room. I was like, whoa. And that feeling of heaven was there with me. The feeling of joy of, oh gosh, I have so much to share with life today. Just doing nothing. I have so much to share with life today because I can feel the radiance of light in my being, just, glowing like the sun. And so that's my week. That's pretty much what I have to share about my week. So if you guys have any comments or questions, please put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'll find something else to share with you. For those of you that are listening on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, the big advantage of coming to the Zoom meeting through my website is that I can see all your questions. I don't have multiple screens that are showing me any comments that you guys have. So if you want to participate and have some personal healing, come on to the Zoom meetings. And you'll find that on my website, WayneKPowell.com. The Mystic Wisdom Sundays. And when you register, you'll get the links. And you'll get the emails reminding you with the link in each email the day before and just before the meeting. So there's all of that. I didn't even realize. Wow. I picked the essence of peace to inhale today. Okay, so that's what we'll do then. Nobody has any questions. We will bring ourselves to peace. So, you know what it's time for, and you know what to do. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Open your crown center. Open all of your centers. And let's breathe in cosmic golden light into all the centers. So let's open all of your energy centers now. Breathing in cosmic golden light. We'll start at the top. Golden white light coming in through your crown. And let's bring it all the way down to your first chakra. As you inhale through your nose, bring in the light into your base, your first chakra, between your sit bones, your tailbone. And imagine a very beautiful red. As you exhale, let it expand and clear and clean your tribal center. Take a few more breaths. This is the light of God you're breathing in, the light of your higher self, the light of spirit. It's the best eraser for your memories that no longer serve you. And we're cleaning our base chakra with this light. As you breathe it in, it's like a laser beam that cleans and clears this spiraling red center. On your next breath, breathe the light in and bring it to your second chakra, the sacral chakra, an orange type color, deep orange, relationships, money. Breathe in deeply and use your laser beam from above to clean and clear your sacral chakra. Bright, deep orange. Swirling and swirling and cleaning and cleaning. Just like when you clean a bowl. Remember, this is the light of God, the light of your higher self, the light of pure spirit. You're breathing in. It belongs to you. It's part of you. You are part of it. And now on your next breath, go to the third chakra center, your third energy center, which is right around your belly, solar plex, a deep, beautiful, luminous yellow. Breathe the light in and clean and clear the solar plexus like you're cleaning a bowl with this holy light. Nice deep breaths, feeling that you're being assisted by your higher self. And now the bottom three centers, red, orange, and yellow, are just glowing and clean, sparkling. On your next breath, to your heart chakra, a beautiful, deep, sparkling green, emerald if you like. Feeling the heart expand with every breath that you take in. On your next inhale, I want you to exhale with a hum, without opening your lips, and feeling how the heart expands. Can you feel your heart smiling, becoming one with all creation, all beings, all of life? On your next breath, the throat center, breathe in light and land on this center of your throat, the voice box. Yeah. Let's go with blue. A beautiful blue color, medium blue, sparkling, bringing your words more willfully in alignment with your higher self. I am spirit alive. I am spirit Yes. Breathe into that throat center and clean it with your light. Clear it. It sparkles. And on your next breath, let's bring it to the brow center, your pineal gland, your third eye, the eye of spirit, the single eye that has no capacity to judge. Yeah. And here we have a deep cobalt blue. Breathe in the light from above and feel it spinning around through your pineal gland, front and back of your head, cleaning this tube of consciousness that connects you to the unseen, to the real world, where there's no suffering. There's only forgiveness. And now finally to your crown chakra. Let's breathe in deep purple. Yeah. Feel your connection now with all of Source through this center. Because just above your seventh chakra is your eighth chakra, which has been called by many mystics the mouth of God. But let's clean and clear your crown center to open your connection with your higher self and open your higher chakra, your eighth chakra, which is not on the physical body. It's your halo. Pure white light on this chakra as the mouth of God. Deep breaths, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose on this higher center. Heaven to heaven is the breathing pattern now. Feeling so connected to your joy, your love, your peace, your divinity, your oneness with all creation is here now in this moment. Just breathe and feel empty, full of light. As your aura starts to glow and radiate, beam this beautiful light, let it overflow from your aura into the room you're in. Take a breath. Ten, 12, 14 feet above you and below you and around you. Take a breath. On the next breath, let it expand beyond the building that you're in. On the next breath, let it expand beyond the city that you're in. On the next breath, let your light expand beyond the country that you're in. On the next breath, let it expand all the way around the world, forming this exquisitely bright blue aura as we all connect around the world, feeling the love for our mother, Gaia. Now, take another breath and allow your blessing to expand throughout this solar system, encompassing all the planets. On your next breath, let your radiance expand into the entire universe. Universe we are. We are one spirit, appearing through many forms, holding the presence of creation in our form, given the will to create whatever we want. There's no judgment. That's why there's so much diversity in the world. And yet in this universe we live, there are so many solar systems, planets, stars, galaxies, nebulas, so much life. And through perceiving it, we come into the experience of being it, one with it one with us. It has been said by many that what we can see in the physical world is only 1%, between 1 and 2% of what exists in this universal overview of life beyond physical sight. That's how small we can be and how large we can be in the principle of oneness. We are. We are. And so it is. And now, in the blink of an eye, with your next breath, bring your point of view back into your body and feel the presence of joy and peace that you've cultivated to carry into your day. I bless you with all my heart. I wish only awakening to beyond the illusion to everyone and myself, to everyone as myself. So, until next week, my love is with you. My blessing is with you. And this replay is with you. If you want to do this meditation again, just look into the replays. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate learning through sharing very much. So, blessings on your day, and know that you are love.